All right. I hope you guys having a good Holy Week, the weekend or the week before Austin Easter. Excuse me. You know where my head's at, but Easter weekend is this weekend, and a lot of big events, a lot of big things going on this week. And last night, President Donald Trump uh, had an address of the state of the conflict of what's going on in the Middle East. I wouldn't say, laid out plans, but hopefully the conflict will be ending soon and everybody will be wrapping that up. But we don't know, right? It's pretty much day to day type stuff. So I've been actually watching it very closely, hearing about it from a lot of trusted sources because uh, you know, one source could say one thing, and then that source says is like, oh, we're not doing that. So, comment below on what you're seeing is as far as what you're seeing in the market, wherever you're at, and what market you're at. So, uh, I'm going to be showing you guys the speech from last night and kind of going over everything and I'm gonna just double check some stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna be going over everything on pretty much the war, oil, and Houston real estate, and what smart buyers and sellers are actually doing. So, because we talk real estate here, not just politics, and I really want to show and how it impacts the real estate industry in Houston, Texas. So, something feels off right now, guys. There's a lot of confusion in the market. I'm getting a lot of calls from even the buyer agents and from my sellers. I did a video yesterday talking about that. So, and if you're relocating to Houston, Texas, or surrounding, right? Because Houston's so big, or even thinking about making a move inside the loop, you're probably asking yourself, is this a bad time to make a decision? Because you're hearing about war, oil, and inflation, right? And it feels like maybe the smart move is to wait, right? Or the safe move is what they say, safe and smart. But what if waiting is actually the risk? I mean, that is a risk waiting. So we're gonna play this clip that I watched over and over, and I try to see the silver lining in things as it pertains to real estate and how it impacts the market. So here we go. I don't know if you can hear it. Hold on just a second. There we go.
Unbelievable astronauts. As we speak this evening, it's been just 1 month since the United States military began Operation Epic Fury, targeting the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran. In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield, victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's Navy is gone.
All right. So I'm going to pause it there and talk about what he's talking about. So that's the tone right now. That's pretty much the tone of what's happening and uncertainty, conflict, big global moves. I mean, those three big things happening right now in the world. So, and when people hear that, they definitely hesitate because they're like a deer in a headlights, and a confused mind always says no. So, we're going to be talking about the data, and we're going to interpreting the data. But here's what I'm seeing locally here in Houston, right? Because I mean, you things can happen cross halfway across the world, right? But I want to see what's actually locally happening in my city and surrounding areas. So the sales are down about 2% year over year. Okay. Sales are definitely down year over year. And about 2%. And pending sales are up 13%. Okay. 13% going into March. We're done with March. Now it's April. It's probably higher coming in from February. So the buyers did not leave. Okay. They're still here, coming out of the woodworks, coming out from hibernation from the winter. And they're just moving more carefully at this point. So if you're relocating here, you're not guessing. You're making a calculated move for your family, your commute time, definitely your commute time. That's a big deal. And your family, of course, and your lifestyle. Got to be happy, right? So hesitation doesn't mean you have to stop. It means you want better clarity before you act. All right. So think about that, kind of let it stew in a little bit. And I'm going to go to the next section of the video of what he talked about. Let's do it.
Now we're working along with Venezuela, and
I'm going to rewind it
masterful
here.
job they did, respected by everyone all over the world. After rebuilding our military during my first term, we have by far the strongest military anywhere in the world. And now we're working along with Venezuela and are, in a true sense, joint venture partners. We're getting along incredibly well in the production and sale of massive amounts of oil and gas, the second largest reserves on Earth after the United States of America. We're now totally independent of the Middle East, and yet we are there to help. We don't have to be there. We don't need their oil. We don't need
All right, I'm
any.
going to pause it right there. And so at this part right here, this is why Houston is different, guys. This is definitely why Houston is different. Because when oil, energy, global conflict shows up, it doesn't crash. Okay, it doesn't crash. So it actually slows decision making temporarily. Like, again, when people don't know what's going on, they're confused, they're scared, they're fear based, everything. They just don't make decisions. Confused mind always says no. So remember that. So here's the data I'm going to layer on you guys. Okay, inventory is up over 14% right now. 14%. That's a lot of that's a lot of active listings. And we have the most active listings in America right now. And we're the fourth largest city. So what does that actually mean for you guys? Well, the buyer impact is if you're that relocating buyer coming in, whether if it's out of the county, out of the city, state, looking in the Heights, Oak Forest, Timber Grove, Lazy Brook, Spring Branch, Northside Village, even, you now have something you didn't have a year ago. Definitely. And you know what that is? It's options, guys. Options. Maybe a year ago, maybe it was during 2021 or 2022. So now you can actually compare homes. You can compare, make sure, flood zones. It's a big thing here, flood zones. I think they've just redone the map on the FEMA map, or they're about to. Street differences. So when you come in the Heights, there's definitely certain streets where they're a lot different, more so because of parking. Lots of parking issues once you get inside the loop because you have less space. You want to find a street that's pretty wide, or you can land in a street that's narrow, which clogs up a lot of the parking, which I know all those streets and how they behave, before work, morning rush hour, and afternoon rush hour coming home from work. So, commute times, you talked a lot about the commute times, how they can impact your lifestyle, and then tax rates. The tax rates. Here in Houston, Harris County inside the loop, usually about 2.1 to 2.3%, kind of hovering. So you're not forced into rushed decisions anymore. Again, having that options. All right, so we're going to go on to the next section of the video. There we go. All right, here we go.
In any way, shape, or form. Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home. This short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror
comment
attacks
below
against
on
commercial
what
oil
you're seeing
tankers and neighboring
in
countries that have
your
nothing to do
market.
with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. They will use them, and they will use them quickly. It would lead to
All
decades.
right, we're gonna stop it right there, guys. And right there, this is where it gets psychological, y'all, for sure. And so, psychological buyer, I won't say warfare, but buyer negotiations with sellers, right? So, gas prices go up. I mean, I think we're hovering around $2.67. I remember before this conflict started. Now, the other day I paid 359, 359, guys. So it's almost a dollar. I know in other places it's 369. So, and now news gets louder, right? Definitely lots of scary headlines. And it creates this feeling, maybe I should wait, is what you're maybe telling yourself. And so, but here's what the data is coming back in. I'm a numbers guy. We gotta look at the data. So, but here's what they say, right? Buyers today are paying about $149 less per month than last year. Okay. Mortgages are decreasing. And so affordability is actually improving, keeping more money in your pocket. And so here's the connection out there for buyers and sellers out there. And if you're coming in from a higher cost market, this matters even more. You're already comparing Houston to California, New York, Chicago even. And even with the uncertainty, housing here is still fundamentally more efficient. Definitely. We're more affordable and more efficient. So I'm going to go to the next clip and I'm going to scrub it here. It went too far. There we go. All right.
And instability worse than we can ever imagine. The United States has never been better prepared economically to confront this threat. You all know that. We built the strongest economy in history. We're going through it right now, the strongest in history. In 1 year, we've taken a dead and crippled country. I hate to say that, but we were a dead and crippled country after the last administration and made it the hottest country anywhere in the world by far, with no inflation, record-setting investments coming into the United States.
All right, I'm going to stop it right here, guys. And this is the part where most people don't connect the dots, or the data is what they say. The average home price is still up about 2%. It's kind of normalized right now. So median price is down less than 1%. So that means, so what does that actually mean, right? We're not in a decline, we're in a normalization phase, or it's a healthy market. So the clients out there, my future clients, or people are just wondering about the market, here's something, and for someone like you guys, this is where the smartest decisions usually get made, and the mist and the smoke of all this conflict and scary headlines, because you're not competing blindly, you're evaluating properly, right? So definitely you're understanding the data. So we're going to continue with the clips here. All righty. All right, let's go.
Open up naturally. They're going to want to be able to sell oil because that's all they have to try and rebuild. It will resume the flowing, and the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up. They haven't come down very much, frankly. They came down a little bit, but they've had some very good days over the last couple of days. We've done actually much better. All
right, I'm going to stop it right there, y'all. Definitely said a lot. And if you've been in Houston long enough, you've seen this before, right? The Historica data tells us, and you, back in 2021, AKA COVID, even with uncertainty, sales surged, guys. And inventory dropped to historic lows. Prices climbed to double digits. Man, I remember back in those days, you would list a home in less than a day or less than 2, 3 days. You had over asking, multiple offers, 10,000 to 50, $60,000 over asking, and coming in cash or doing appraisal waivers. It was insane. I mean, back then during nobody knew what the heck was going on during COVID. Everything was shut down, right? So even during disruption, the market did not fall apart. It accelerated. So I'm always looking at patterns here, right? Seeing trends and patterns, and that those leave clues. So here's the pattern: uncertainty. Uncertainty leads to hesitation. Hesitation leads to opportunity. And opportunity leads to acceleration, guys. So here, and here's something for the sellers out there. For y'all sellers, this market is no longer forgiving. Definitely not. The strategy play is you can't just list and hope anymore, or test the market, is what they say. You have to position, which includes pricing strategy, includes curb appeal, doing the minor to moderate or medium sized repairs. You can do maybe repaint the interior, fix the holes in the walls. It's always an electrical thing. It's always a GFCI. It's always a plumbing leak of some sort. It's probably a roofing issue. Get a new roof. And of course, foundation is we're built on a swamp, guys. Foundation, foundation, foundation. Get it repaired, keep the warranty, get a lifetime warranty, and present it to the would-be buyers. Those little things or big things, it could be big things, getting a roof is a big thing, will definitely improve and increase the chances of getting your home sold quickly and for the best top dollar. So would it be a mistake to price your home like buyers are still desperate, like back in 2020 and 2021, when they clearly have more options now? We just talk about the options and the inventory. That's pretty healthy, right? And the reality is, more inventory equals longer days on market. Right now, we're almost at 70 days average, 69 to be exact. So the homes winning right now are the ones that hit correctly from day one. I'm telling you, day one to day seven are the most important golden days of the listing life. So for buyers out there, for the buyers, definitely important. This is where it gets interesting, right? You now have time on your side, you have negotiation leverage, you have selections. And would it be crazy to say this might be one of the more controlled buyer environments that we've had in a long time? Because before competition comes back, I mean, you're going to be competing with other buyers coming in with, higher down payments, all cash and all that, with less contingencies and ready to get in a home. So, if you're relocating your family here in Houston or the surrounding parts, this isn't about timing the market perfectly. It's about making the most informed move possible. So, here's the real question. Gotta get real, guys. I gotta connect with you guys. I gotta keep it real, no fluff, no BS, just real. Would it be a mistake to wait for things to feel uncertain, or for things to feel certain? Because it's already feels uncertain, when the data is already telling you what's happening. Because Houston doesn't crash, it recalibrates. And the people who understand that are the ones who win on both sides of the deal. If you haven't met yet, my name is Armando, local realtor here in Houston, Texas. Been living in Houston over 30 years now. And we'd love to talk with you about real estate. If you have any questions or concerns, DM me below, or even comment on your opinions on the speech last night. I know it's very controversial, but here we talk real estate. Sometimes you do talk politics as it relates to real estate. All right, guys, take care. Talk soon.